Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome back to another amazing session of the Kukuruku Art Festival. First of all, happy Bhai Dooj to you all. Okay, so welcome to another amazing session of the Kukuruku Art Festival, the biggest and the longest running global art festival for children. And as you already know, this festival is global not only because we have facilitators from 9 different countries, but also because we have viewers and listeners from countries like Oman, Qatar, and UAE. And we are so honored to welcome our audience from the Middle East. Yay! Okay, so before we get over to the instructions, there is a small video clip for you. Okay, I hope you enjoy that. So this video is sponsored by Camel, India's favorite stationery brand. And this session is brought to you by Camel, of course, India's favorite stationery brand in association with our radio partner, 92.7 Big FM, Dhun, Badal Ke To Dekho, and our publication partner that says Nurturing Thinking Minds and Shaping a Better Future, and our entertainment partner, Pogo, children's favorite entertainment platform. Okay? So before we, so I think you already know the instructions, but for all our new children, I am going to repeat them once again for you. The first is that this session will be 40 minutes long, followed by a special 20 minutes question and answer round for you, where you can ask about all your doubts and queries, and our incredible instructor will answer all of them for you. Okay. The second one is that if you have any problem with your gadgets or internet connectivity, please ask your parents. I am sure that they will be more than happy to help you with it. And the third one is that do not worry, okay, if you miss out on any part of this session or if you have missed previous sessions, because we got your back, okay? This whole session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our website, where you can go to your Kukuruku dashboard and have access to all the recorded sessions over there. Okay, so brace yourself, kids, for an amazing journey, amazing session and art adventure with our incredible instructor, Miss Kanika. Welcome, Miss Kanika. I hope you're doing great.
Hi, Shika. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm doing good and I'm very excited for today's session.
I hope the kids are too. It's amazing to have you here.
Thank you. So shall we begin now?
Yes, absolutely. Now I hand over the session to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm seeing all of you are so excited. I'm reading your chats and I am so excited equally. Okay, so without further delay, we will start with our today's session. As you all know, today's session is about abstract art. Okay, so okay, I'm also receiving some messages about my previous session. Well, thank you. It's a compliment. Okay, so abstract art is different for each one of us. Okay, every artist paints abstract artwork in a different way. ideas are different, the kind of colors we use are different, the kind of compositions we make with different elements are different. So we are going to learn one aspect of abstract art today. Okay, so let me share my screen with you, and we start with a small game, okay? The game is just guess game, okay? All right. So the first thing we do is we try to guess the meaning of these terms: abstract and express. Okay, I want all of you to share with me your understanding of what do you understand by abstract and what do you understand by express. Let's have the meanings of these two words before we even do anything else. I'm sure I can have lots of creative ideas and opinions on chat. Let's quickly give me words. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you listen to the word abstract? Okay, abstract means fantasy. Expressing means telling, okay? Abstract means something weird or bizarre, imaginary, surreal, okay? Existing only as an idea, of course. Mythical, it's about feelings, it's about telling and communication of your feelings. So abstract means something which is not really real, but somewhat identical to the real, but expressed in a different way. It's fantasy. Abstract is creative, lovely. Express means to communicate and tell. All right. So you've understood what the name of the session means today. It's about abstract art and it's about expression. Let's move on. Thank you, students, for giving me answers to the question. All right, so this is the guessing game we are going to start. I'm going to give you, show you a lot of pictures, okay? We are going to look at the images and share with me what image is it? Like it's a photograph of what? It's a thing or a place or a person? Well, you have to guess and you have to tell me. Okay. Guess what is photographed in the following pictures? Let's start with the first. All right, you have to guess, what is this picture about? Come on, quickly. Bubbles, okay? Fluid painting, mushroom, yeah, maybe. Bubbles, jellyfish. About colors, it's a human cell, it's glass. iPhone paint, nice. Water drop with paint, lovely. It actually is a soap bubble, okay? Yes, it is a soap bubble. So most of you who said oil in water or bubble were right. But yes, it does resemble fluid art. It does resemble some kind of color with oil floating. It does resemble. Okay, this is the second picture. Okay, a fly. You already know. Exactly, it's a bee or a fly. It's basically a close-up of an insect. A scarecrow, eyes of a fly. Bee, absolutely right. It is a fly. Okay, let's look at the third picture quickly. A mosquito, an ugly fly. Ugly is a very strong word. I think it's beautiful. Some things that we don't see with a naked eye, but we see it through a picture. I think it's such an interesting way to have a look at what nature has in store for us. Honeybee, bubbles, bacteria, a fly's face covered with something, dewdrops, mosquito. You're absolutely right. It is of an insect, but a dragonfly, the face of a dragonfly photographed. All right. Thank you for sharing. Now let's go to the third picture. What picture is this? Maybe an alien, a flower, a bird, a petal, daisy, orchid, swan. Bat, flower. Okay, most of you are correct. It is the petal of a flower along with the inside part of a flower. An orchid. It is a picture of an orchid with the flower petal. Smart you all are. Okay, so thank you for sharing with me your answers. Okay, there was something common about all of these photographs. What was common about all these photographs? You could do the guess game easily. Okay, they were about nature, they were about living things, they were abstract, they were real, but the way they were photographed, it appeared a bit abstract to us. Why? Because we haven't seen nature so closely, right? So these pictures made us see closely the eyes of a fly, the front face of a dragonfly, and the bubble, the inside, the colors that are formed and reflected out of a bubble are seen through these photographs. So, okay, they were very detailed. Thank you, Nivedita, for sharing that. They definitely were detailed because we had to zoom in and take a close-up. So that is what's common about these pictures. It's about nature. They are photographed closely, zoomed in. They are colorful, of course. Nature is colorful, right? And the way it is presented is also slightly abstract because we have not seen nature so closely. So it kind of appears abstract to us. Okay, so taking this forward, our artwork will also be based on abstraction derived out of nature. We are going to learn a little bit about an artist named Georgia O'Keeffe. Okay, she's an American artist and she does something similar. She takes close-up pictures of nature and the world around her, especially nature. Most of her paintings are based on nature. In fact, she's very fond of painting flowers. Sometimes when we walk by, we look at flowers. The first thing we notice is, what do we notice about flowers? What is the first thing we notice about flowers? Quickly. The petal, we look at the petal, the color. Yes, we do look at the color. Okay. For her, she is trying to bring together. Okay. So I'll repeat myself. This artist also paints images which are macro. Okay. Macro means enlarged. It means larger than life, larger than the size than they actually are. So microscopic images also. If you look at a leaf underwater or an onion cell or a stem cell under the microscope, you see it enlarged, okay? Something that you don't see with a naked eye. The close-up. You have the zoom in feature in cameras, right? Something that you want to bring close in your photograph, you zoom in. So similarly, macro imagery is extreme close-up photography, usually of very small subjects, especially in nature, like living organisms, like insects, butterflies, in which the size of the photograph is greater and larger than life, okay? This much you've understood. So till now, we've understood what we are doing today. It's abstract art. We are going to learn about macro imagery turned into paintings. We are going to take inspiration from an artist named Georgia O'Keeffe. Okay, let's move ahead. So this is the artist Georgia O'Keeffe. You see the image behind on the right-hand side, the image of her when she was younger and maybe slightly older on the left. The painting behind this artist is made by her, and that is basically the inside of a rose. Okay, so Georgia O'Keeffe was the most significant artist in the 20th century America. She was renowned for her contribution to modern art. Okay, generally in the olden times, modern art started in the early 1900s. Okay, so in the older times, like in the 1800s or 1600s or 1700s, that era was more about realistic art. Okay, modern consists of simplification, something which is different from the real, something abstract, yes, but even if it's real, the colors are changed in some way or the other. It's about expression. Okay, so she was one of the artists who was significant and very renowned for her style. She painted and sketched works that evoke the spectacular places she visited. So every place she traveled, she would take photographs, collect objects from those places, and use them in her paintings. Okay. She was 73 when she started suffering from failing vision. You know, when you get older, sometimes your bones hurt, you're not able to walk. So similarly with her, all her life she painted, but she had a failing vision when she was 73. But her last oil painting was painted in the year 1972. In spite of that, in 1977, she was 90 years old. She observed and said, I can see what I want to paint, even though she wasn't able to see the object properly. But if it was kept in front of her, she was able to paint it. And I think that's the will and determination of every artist. We should also strive to achieve what we want to achieve, irrespective of our vision or any kind of, we should not have excuses for anything. Making art should come naturally to us. Yes. So she had some very important things from which we can learn a lot. Okay. Before we paint, we'll finish what she really said, and that will help us get inspired for being a better artist. She said, filling a space in a beautiful way. That is what art means to me. So the space here she's talking about is the space on your paper, on your canvas. So if she fills up the space in a beautiful way, maybe colorful with lines, colors, compositions, that is what art meant to her. It's about getting your ideas, your feelings and emotions on the canvas in a beautiful way. I found I could say things with colors and shapes that I could not say any other way. Things I had no words for. So like when we usually say, picture speaks 1,000 words. That's what she's trying to convey over here. So sometimes you're not able to explain things in color, in words. So you use color, shapes, lines on the canvas and put all your ideas, emotions, and feelings and express, communicate, tell what is inside you, in your heart, in your head, all of it through an artwork. Most people in the city rush around, so they have no time to look at a flower. I want them to see it whether they want to or not. So just when in the beginning of this session, I mentioned to you, how many of us actually go about looking at flowers, and what is the first thing that comes to our mind? Most of you said color. Okay, we look at the petals, how big or small they are. Maybe color or size is what we maximum notice. And then when we go closer to it, maybe we want to smell it and see how beautiful the fragrance is. But for her, she painted flowers in most of her painting. Reason why? Because we don't look at the inside of a flower and we don't really actually do analysis of what the shape, color is like, what are the two colors that are blending in a petal. We may not look at a flower as closely. So she wants to paint something because she wants to bring everyone's attention to what beauty is like in nature. So look at it closely. Look at it as a macro image. Right. So this is one of her paintings. I told you that when she traveled around various places in the world, Peru, Japan, Mexico, she would collect objects and she would get all her ideas from her travels and put them in her paintings. So the landscape behind you see in the painting is a landscape inspired from the Mexican desert. Okay. And in front, she has a flower and a carcass. Carcass is basically the skeleton, okay? The skeleton of a bull or an animal. This painting is called the ram's head, okay? The head, the skeleton of that animal, and the flower. Now, when you look at a painting, generally it evokes some sort of emotion or feeling in you, okay? What do you think could be the idea of painting a skull of an animal and a flower there? What do you think could be the idea? Why she put the skull and the flower together? What do you think? Rest in peace. Okay, that could be it. What else? I told you she has inspiration from nature, right? So she wants to bring attention to things that we don't generally see properly. You know, we will not stop and stare at things and analyze what the color, shape, or form is like. So she's being positive amidst pain. Could be it. She's thinking about the pictures explains that everything is beautiful in its own way. Yes, it does. That's such a beautiful idea. To help us see the skeleton of the thing, yes, sometimes we may not even go close to a skeleton or a piece, but she wants to bring into notice how a certain certain thing looks when you look at it closely. Another idea she's trying to express is life and death. Okay, the skeleton represents and expresses death, right? Something that is over, but still is part of nature. Flower and the color and the fresh flower next to it is expressing life. So she has tried to use two objects from nature to express the idea, which are totally opposite. And the landscape, I told you, she gets all her inspiration from the travels she makes. So that's behind the carcass. In fact, in the desert only, she found the ram's head. So she had the landscape painted in the background. So interesting, no? How without even writing a word or actually painting someone dead or something, she uses just two simple objects, but expresses the idea of life and death together. Okay. Let's look at another painting of hers. I told you she paints a lot of flowers. She's painted flowers all her life. Thank you, Ananya. That's a very interesting idea. I'd like to share that with everybody. She wants that the animals should be said goodbye in a beautiful way, and they should know that they were important to them. Brilliant. I mean, this is an idea I did not think of because I already read what the painting meant. So probably I was stuck with that idea. See, art gets you thinking. Thank you, Ananya, for sharing that. Let's move ahead with our next. So this is a painting of course, the inside of a flower, how the petal looks. Okay, so she's only observing the color. Most of you said the first thing we see about flowers is color, but the color is combined with a macro image. Okay, a macro image of a flower, the inside, enlarged, zoomed in, you know, focused onto. Okay, so this is, but this painting is called Pink and Blue. This is another painting of a flower. This kind of is obvious, you know. Most of you guessed what our initial pictures looked like. The photographs I shared with you all, most of you guessed what they were like. I actually thought you won't be able to, but you guys are brilliant. So this is also of a plant. And look at the colors, how the dark browns blend into the red and a little bit of gray. The gray mixes with the maroon. Beautiful. Is it a maple leaf? Advait says it's a maple leaf. It could be, but it's called red something. It's called, the painting is called Red and Pink Flower or something. It's definitely a flower. Okay, so you've seen the ram's head, you've seen the pink and blue, you've seen the red. This is the inside of a rose. She has painted it in black and white. Do you think it could be a black rose that she may have painted? Okay, it somewhat looks like basically a ripple of water on the surface of a lake. I think it looks like that, but it's actually the inside of a rose. The first picture of her that you saw in the painting behind was this picture. All right, can we paint ours now? Okay, so I have taken a macro image of a sunflower here. Can you see that? It is basically the bottom part of the flower, you know, where the leaves and the stem start. But I have now turned that into a macro image. So I've cropped some part of it that we will use as our inspiration for painting our painting. Shall we start? So I have turned it into two paintings. I'll be painting number 2 today. Okay, so I have cropped the image out of the large flower, further zoomed in into a part of it. So when we look at this painting, this number 2, this part, this is what looks abstract to us. But now that you all know that Georgia O'Keeffe painted flowers, you might be guessing that it is a part of a flower. There's green in it and there's color in it, in the yellows and reds. So you must have guessed that it is a flower. So shall we get started? Okay. We are going to use this as our inspiration today. All of you get your pencil. We are all drawing with a pencil. I'll be drawing with a pen for you all to see it better on the screen. So can I request the moderator to have my sheet and my screen to be spotlighted for everyone to see? Okay, so I have done a light drawing with pencil for you all to see, but you are going to start drawing with yours. Please do not use a pen right now. Use a pencil for your drawing. I'll be using a pen because I want you all to be able to see the picture properly. Okay. So let's start now. Looking at that picture, you will not be able to see the picture, but we are going to take that picture as our inspiration and create our own version of that flower, the macro image of that flower. So shall we start? I have taped my sheet down on all 4 sides. Okay, I'll start from the bottom here. So this corner, basically at the bottom, this corner is where I'm going to start the green part that we did, right? Okay, so a simple, how petals go, the similar thing is the leaf, the part that is below the flower. Then we go here on the side, right? Then the other part. Right. I'm going to give you all the time to get the curves right. So we start from this corner and go here. Even if it's slightly longer, it's fine. We don't really exactly have to copy the image. We have to create an abstract artwork just by taking inspiration from nature, by taking inspiration from Georgia O'Keeffe. Okay, what else would you like to draw apart from doing the flower in the style of Georgia O'Keeffe? What else would you like to draw? Please give me in chat quick answers, okay? While you're done with 3 parts, we have 3 more to go. It is okay if you're not getting the curves exactly how I'm doing. They can be slightly different. They can be narrow. They can be slightly broader. It's absolutely okay. Don't be bothered about doing anything absolutely realistically. It's abstract, right? We are taking inspiration, but trying to express a macro image. Animals, horse bones, butterflies. Maybe a close-up of a butterfly wing would also be a great idea. Horse bones, yes. Eyes in macro drawing. Yes, very interesting. Maybe we can look at a microscopic image of a cell, maybe the onion cell or the plant cell, and have it drawn, because all you see is colors and lines and small shapes and texture here and there. You don't really know it's a cell unless you actually know it's a cell because you're looking at it under a microscope. Very good ideas. A bacteria, okay, eyes, elephant's trunk, close up of an elephant's trunk. Maybe yes, elephant's trunk has very thick skin. So maybe those lines and wrinkles that are present on the skin will be very interesting to paint. Okay. Molecules, butterfly eye, very interesting. You know, butterfly have this camouflage technique. They have kind of these shapes and patterns and colors and these eye kind of things on the wings, you know, so that they can camouflage and on a brown leaf or something, or on a plant, and they appear as if they are the eyes of another insect. It is to protect themselves. I'm sure most of you know what camouflage is. So interestingly, if you zoom into the wing of a butterfly, we'll get those patterns and shapes and colors to draw and paint with. So our painting today is not very large, but you can try this in these 2 sessions today and tomorrow, and maybe turn it into a larger painting next time you attempt it. And with the things that you want to draw, like butterflies, skull of a horse, reindeer horn, chameleon, close-up of a chameleon's body, a dragon's eye. Okay, so now we are left with doing the petals. So we are going to do simple drawing with a pencil of the petals. We are not trying to copy nature. We are only taking ideas and observing the colors that nature has to offer. So I'm drawing the petals. These are basically the edges of the petals. They go in this direction because of the way we have cropped the image. Okay. You can have the petals go broader, narrower. It's all up to you. You can even change the color of the flowers that you would like. I'll be choosing the warm colors that are there in the picture, the oranges, the reds, a bit of brown, and bright chrome yellows. Okay, so you all will be using watercolor with me. Do we want another minute to finish this flower on this sheet? Imagine. It takes so long for everyone to draw first and then be able to paint. Our drawing got completed in like no time. So in the meanwhile, I'd like to know, brush pens can be used. Some of you are asking me if brush pens can be used, if not watercolor. Yes, of course, brush pens can be used, but you have to blend the 2 colors using brush pens. So I hope you'll be able to manage that. Okay, if you don't have an A4 sheet, you can take something bigger or slightly smaller also, it'll do. But try to keep your sheet in a portrait fashion in length, okay, not horizontally. So portrait orientation will work well with this picture. So I'll start painting. So I've got Camel watercolor ink. It's basically already in a liquid form. You all may be having watercolor cakes where you got these circles, small cakes all over. So you will put a drop of water on each cake piece and then get the watercolor out of those cake. I'm using liquid ones. Some of you may be using tube watercolor. So you have to squeeze out the color out of the tubes. I'll be using purple, green, the sap green, which is called the leaf green also, or a sap green if you're using a tube, brown, yellow, orange, and a bit of blue if you'd like to add, because I'll be adding some colors here and there, which are according to my own wish and how I want to include. The first thing we do is we are going to cover our sheet with a little bit of water. So every corner, like the first one is this part, the one that we drew first thing, okay, from the bottom. This part is what we are going to color. So this part will have to be covered with little bit water, not too much. So what you do is just make your brush wet, okay? You make the brush wet and squeeze out the extra water out of your brush. There shouldn't be a bubble hanging at the tip, okay? So take that water out completely and make sure it's not dry, but just moist and wet enough for you to start. So you wet your brush and then start adding the water from the tip. Okay, and only in that portion that we drew first, you know, the first leaf that we drew from the bottom, only that part has to be made wet. Now, the reason why we are doing this is because watercolor tends to spread. It tends to blend too much. So we don't want the colors of one leaf going into the other and it all getting messed up. So this technique is called wet on wet technique. Wet on wet means we've already made the surface wet and moist for the color to spread. And only the space where it is wet, the color will spread. That's a very interesting thing about watercolor. So the space that is wet, that is the only area where the color will spread, and it will not go on to the other areas without you wanting it to. Okay. Although Georgia O'Keeffe painted in oil paints, so we can't use oil paints here because we have a short session, but anytime in future, if you would like to try, you can try with any other dry mediums also. Pencil colors, crayons, acrylic paints, anything. But watercolor is very beautiful. I love it. It's my favorite medium. So I'm going to use that, but you all can try other mediums too. So I'm using a dark green first to begin with, and I'm going to drop the color here. Take a little more water and try to spread that. You see, it's only spreading around the area that is wet, right? And you don't have to take your brush outside that area. So to begin with, this is the first green that I'm using. But since it is not a leaf green, it is more of a darker green, I'm going to add a little bit of yellow watercolor also to it to make it appear more leaf green-like. So what I did was, always when we want to turn a dark green color into a lighter green, we add yellow. Try and avoid using white. Although Georgia O'Keeffe had all the pastel colors that are found in nature, you know, she would use white mixed with it. But in order to make a leaf green, we add dark green and yellow. The second color I saw over there was a purple. So I'm going to add a little bit of purple and blend it into the green like this. Okay. Now, some of you may feel, okay, the purple was more in number and it was only on the tips. Remember that when you're painting, you take inspiration from nature, but you paint the whole thing in your own style. So I'm going to continue with the green. I'll add some water because water tends to get absorbed by the sheet. And I'm adding the green and try to blend it with the purple over here. Now this green is not very dark. I'll add the yellow and mix it. You all need to just pick up the leaf green from the palette or from the tube that you're using. I will have to mix it because the green I have is dark. And add the yellow to it to make it more leaf-like. Right? A little bit blue at the tip. So there was more purple at the tip, but I will be using some blue because I think blue looks really beautiful with the yellow flower. It's a contrast. Remember the contrast she tried to present in her life and death painting, which is called the Ram's Head. She presented a contrast by using two different objects from nature. Contrast in colors is when two colors are on the opposite side of the color wheel. So we use yellow and blue. They are contrasting colors. Okay. In a similar fashion, we will start with leave one of the leaf here and move to the next. Reason, by the time you finish this one, this would have dried, okay? And then it'll be possible for you to work on this one. So leave one and start with the third leaf. I'm adding water. And the tip of it is first thing that we paint. I said I love blue with the yellow, so I'm going to add the blue. You see how the color is spreading, but it is only spreading in the area where there is water, right? A little bit of purple here. So blue and purple are cool colors. The yellows, oranges, and the reds are all warm colors. Let's start with the green bit. Add water to spread it and blend it into the blue and purple. Okay. Add the yellow to give it the leaf-like So it doesn't have to be one kind of tone all throughout the leaf. It can be a mixture of two, right? A lighter green, a darker green, a more yellowish green at some point. And blend it with the tip, which is blue and purple. Blend, blend, blend. All right. Let's move on to the fourth leaf. Leave one and move on to the fourth leaf. Cover it with water. Yeah. And then add the blue and the purple at the tips like we did for the other two. See how it's spreading. I am just touching it and it spreads on its own and beautifully. The blue and the purple at the tips, blending into the yellows and greens at the bottom. Yeah, great. You may change your colors if you'd like. Since it's an abstract painting, why don't you try something else? Maybe each of your, this part of the painting, the leaf that you've drawn, you can use other colors. What do you think other colored leaves are like? I have a plant at home which has purple and green leaves. So yes, all colors exist in nature. So you don't have to worry. You may choose your own colors. The picture was only for our inspiration. Spread the color with the water, blend it and spread it, and then start with your green tones. Most of Georgia O'Keeffe's paintings is all about blending the colors that she sees in nature. One lighter color goes into the darker, because that's how nature has its colors. A petal has a pink, a dark pink, maybe at the tip of the petal it's red. So you see all the colors blending one into the other. So similarly, her paintings had the same tones, the blending of one color into the other. This is slightly darker because I'm trying to achieve the depth at the bottom where the light does not reach that very well. You know, the inside of the flower, the outside, the flower shines because the light reaches on the outside better. But the inside of the flower, it's kind of dark. So you can have the dark and the light blending into one another. Okay, now let's come back to the second part because the other two parts are kind of dry. So we can add the water, just plain water. Make sure your water is not too dirty. Okay. Although with watercolor, the water does not get too dirty so soon. So it's fine. Spread the water and then the blue and the purple at the tips. So what colors have you chosen? Have you changed the color? The blue and the purple, have they been changed into another color? Please share with me what are the other colors you would like to replace this with. I'd like to imagine what it may look like with the colors that you choose to make the painting in. Okay, the bottom part in the green. Yellow and orange is very interesting. Pink and purple. Blue and green. Okay. All right. So I'm going to add some yellow to make a different tone of the green and spread it. I may want something dark in this corner, so a little bit more green here. Similarly, we'll do the other bits, 1 and 2. So add the water, spread it all over the petal-like structure that we've drawn, like a leaf. Mauve, carmine. Yeah, these are also very interesting color. Red and purple. What a beautiful combination. The purple and blue at the tips. Spread it and try to blend it with the water at the bottom. And similarly, you get the green next and try to blend it with the blue and the purple. And add the yellow to turn it into a leaf green. All right, so we are left with the last part here that we are going to paint. Blue and purple at the tip. Sorry, first water. Spread the water. If you had to paint a flower in a macro fashion, what would be the flower you'd most likely to be painting? Rose, very common. Do you know names of any other flower that you'd like to paint the inside of? I believe hibiscus is a very interesting flower. The inside of a hibiscus, the shape of the leaves, or even gulmohar. I don't know if you've heard of that flower, the gulmohar tree. It usually springs around the spring season only. They have very interesting shapes of the petals. Orchid, ferns, hibiscus, mayflower, cherry blossom. I haven't seen cherry blossom here around my area. Do any of you have a cherry blossom? I thought cherry blossoms were only in Japan. I'm sure Georgia O'Keeffe may have seen it because she traveled to Japan a lot. All right. After having done this part, we'll start with our petals. Now you would have seen in the picture that some parts, the corners and edges of the petals were very dark. Okay, darker brown blending into the red, and red goes into the orange and then yellow. Okay, this is a very interesting piece of information. Someone's saying that cherry blossoms are there in Shillong. Well, I will have to go there and see how beautiful they look. I've seen it only in pictures. Thank you for sharing that information. So we'll start with the petal here at the bottom. The same technique we'll use, wet on wet. We will take water and spread it on the first petal. Now we've seen 2-3 colors blending into each other, right? The base color is kind of yellow, right? In that flower, you all may choose any 2-3 colors that you would like to blend for the petals. I'm using yellow, orange, and red. So I'll start with the yellow here at the bottom and try to spread it by using a little water. Blend it and use an orange next. The yellow goes into the orange and blends. So it looks natural, you know. You don't really have stripes in there. You have one color blending into the other. And the third one was the red, right? I'm going to make the red slightly darker by using a bit of brown also in the petal. Okay. So we have another session tomorrow, which we will take the time to finish the entire painting. But I'm just doing one petal for you all today to understand how you can blend one color into the other. So after doing the 3 colors, I've got a little bit of brown in the edges. I'm going to take a little water and blend it. We are left with just say 10 minutes for this session to get over. So, but I must stop here today, right? So tomorrow we will continue with the other petals. You've learned how to blend one color into the other. Just wet the surface first. Make the lighter color, then the darker one, and the other darker tones that you'd like to add. So this is it for today. We'll continue painting the rest of the parts. Make sure you're carrying your dark black pen tomorrow, because after the whole painting is complete, we will use that pen to add something more. So Ishika, over to you. I hope you enjoyed this bit today, all of you. We'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Ms. Kanika, for that splendid workshop. I really hope that the kids enjoyed it. Actually, I feel they did, because they were so enthusiastic and energetic and so attentive. You children are amazing, okay? So now we head over to the question and answer round. But okay, before that, our sponsors have an amazing, super interesting video clip for you guys. So there you go. I hope you enjoy it. So children, this session is sponsored by Camel, India's favorite stationery brand, in association with our radio partner 92.7 Big FM, Dhun Badal Ke To Dekho, and our publication partner Sonalika Publication, that says nurturing thinking minds and shaping a better future. And of course, our entertainment partner Pogo, your favorite entertainment channel. Okay, so now we shall head over to the question and answer round. The first question that we have today is, okay, how will we show the artwork to you? Okay, children, you can upload your artwork of your incredible, super talented little artworks to your social media accounts, that is Facebook and Instagram. And do not forget to tag us, Kukuruku and Camel, and stand a chance to win exciting prizes. So I really hope that you love prizes. So do participate and we will be thrilled to see your artworks. Okay. The next is, ma'am, can I use brush pens because they don't merge?
They do merge. You just have to use one on top of the other. You have to layer it. So brush pens is a good option if you do not have the paints. But watercolor is very interesting. So next time, do buy Camel watercolors. They're great to use. You'll love the experience of painting with them. But brush pens is when you're done with one color, you use the other color slightly on top. They may not blend as well as watercolors do, but they will do the job well.
Okay, we have a question. Is there a chance to watch it again and make it while watching? Yes, absolutely, children. This session is being recorded and this will be uploaded to our website within 24 hours. So you can go at any time that you want and go and do it again, or draw, or do all of your artwork whenever you wish. Okay. When is the next class? Children, next class is tomorrow. Okay. Okay. We also have, ma'am, what is your favorite color and flower?
Actually, I like all flowers. I like all the colors that our God has to offer in nature. So all are my favorite colors, but I love greens of the different leaves, the shapes and sizes, and the different kind of greens. There's leaf green, dark green, bottle green. So green is my favorite color. So maybe I will do a painting of a leaf and you enjoy the greens with me.
Absolutely. I am pretty sure that the kids love your session. They are so attentive and they're asking questions. So many questions. Okay. When is the next class? Children, the next class is tomorrow at the same time. Okay. 3 p.m. Do not forget the time. At what time is the class tomorrow? Okay, I just answered that. Okay, so we do not have any more questions. So I think that was it for today. Well, thank you so much once again, Ms. Kanika, for that splendid workshop. I am sure the kids enjoyed it. And because I enjoyed it too personally, thank you so much. And children, you guys are amazing. We would love to see your artwork and keep up with the enthusiasm and that energy. We love you all. Bye-bye. Have an artistic day ahead. Bye-bye. And also, happy Bhai Dooj to all of you. Bye-bye.
हम तो ढूंढते रहे सपनों का जहां